I'm Teresa Wheeler, 32 years old, standing in my parents' San Diego kitchen with a cup of coffee that's already gone cold, staring down at a white envelope in my hand. The edges are soft from how tightly I've been holding it. It's my sister's wedding invitation. Tomorrow's supposed to be her big day. I've spent the whole week preparing, the dress is steamed, the shoes are ready, the speech I wrote for her is folded neatly in my purse. My heart is full of excitement, and I can already picture the moment she walks down the aisle. "Mom," I say, smiling, "I'm so excited for the wedding tomorrow." But then I notice it, the way her shoulders tense, the way her spoon clatters against the mug, spilling tea onto the counter. She doesn't look at me. "Teresa," she says softly, eyes darting away. "The wedding, it was last week." I freeze. Her words hit like a slap. I blink, confused, my mind racing. "What are you talking about?" I whisper. "The invitation says tomorrow." I hold up the card, the elegant gold script shining in the morning light. My mother doesn't meet my gaze. We sent you the wrong date." The world tilts. The sound of my own heartbeat fills the silence. I stare at her, trying to process it. The wrong date? By accident? No. Not with my family. My chest tightens, breath shallow. I grab the invitation, staring again at the date, the one I circled in red on my calendar. My mom keeps stirring her tea, avoiding my eyes. My stomach drops. It's not a mistake. It's a message. They didn't want me there. My own family, my mom, my dad, my sister, planned to leave me out. The realization hits harder than I can explain. I can feel my pulse in my throat. I set the invitation down, my hands trembling. For a moment, I just stand there in that quiet kitchen where I grew up, surrounded by memories of birthdays, laughter, holidays, all now feeling like lies. "Why?" I ask quietly. My mom doesn't answer. She just sighs, like she's tired of pretending. "It's done," she murmurs. Done. As if that makes it okay. I can't speak. I can't breathe. Everything inside me burns, confusion, hurt, disbelief, all mixing into something sharp. I grab my purse and leave without another word. The morning air feels cold on my skin. By the time I reach my car, tears are blurring my vision, but I don't let them fall. I won't cry for people who don't value me. Not anymore. That night, I sit in my condo in the gas lamp quarter, the city lights flickering through the window. The invitation lies on the coffee table, its perfect script mocking me. My family had actually planned this. My mom, my dad, my sister, the people I've spent years helping, all of them decided I wasn't worth a seat at that wedding. How could they? I think back to all the times I saved them from falling apart. When Vicky's interior design business failed and she was drowning in $10,000 of debt, who bailed her out? Me. When Mom and Dad's house started crumbling with leaks and cracks and they were scared of losing it, who paid the $30,000 repair bill? Me. When they wanted that fancy anniversary trip to Napa but couldn't afford it, who quietly sent them money? Me. Every time, I gave. Every time, I believed it would bring us closer. But all it did was teach them that my love came with no limits. That I'd always be there, no matter how much they took. And now this cruel exclusion, is their thank you. I take a deep breath, forcing down the lump in my throat. My phone buzzes on the table, and I see the name, Claudia. My cousin. The one person in my family who's always been honest. I pick up. Her voice is soft, cautious. "Teresa, are you okay?" I tell her everything, the invitation, Mom's cold tone, the truth that's finally hit me. She listens quietly, and when I'm done, she sighs. I didn't want to be the one to tell you, she says, but they planned it that way. Vicky told everyone you'd overshadow her day. Mom agreed. They didn't want you there. Her words cut like glass. I can't speak for a few seconds. My sister, the one I lifted out of debt, thought I'd ruin her wedding? And Mom agreed? I whisper, why would they do that to me? Claudia's tone hardens. Because you're strong, Teresa. Because you don't need them. That threatens them. I close my eyes, trying to steady my breathing. It feels like my whole world's collapsing. But beneath the pain, something else begins to rise. A quiet, steady anger. A line drawn in the sand. They think they can erase me? I say. They're wrong. The next morning, I drive to my parents' house. The sky is a washed-out blue, the kind that looks peaceful but hides a storm. I park in their driveway, my hands gripping the steering wheel, my heart hammering. For 32 years, I've been the fixer, the helper, the good daughter. But not today. Today, they'll see me for who I really am, someone they can't manipulate anymore. I walk up to the front door and knock. Hard. The sound echoes through the house. When Mom opens the door, her face goes pale. Teresa? Why are you here? She asks, voice tight. You tell me, I say, stepping past her into the living room. Dad is sitting in his recliner with the morning paper, his eyebrows shooting up when he sees me. My sister, Vicky, is lounging on the couch, scrolling through her phone like she owns the place. They all freeze. The air feels heavy. Why did you lie to me? I say, my voice calm but sharp. Why did you send me the wrong date? No one speaks. Dad sets down his cup, looking at the floor. Mom stammers something about not wanting drama. And then Vicky smirks. Fine, she says, I didn't want you there. You always make everything about you, your job, your achievements. It was my day, Teresa. Not yours. Her words slice deep, but I don't let it show. I stare at her, remembering the night she called me crying for help, the money I sent, the times I stood by her when no one else did. You wanted to feel special, I say quietly. I hope betraying me made you feel that way. Mom steps in, her voice sharp. Teresa, that's enough. You're too independent, you make us feel small. Vicky deserved her moment. I almost laugh. They're blaming me for their insecurity. I look at Dad. And you? I ask. You let this happen? He doesn't answer. Just stares at his hands. That silence says everything. I straighten my shoulders, my voice firm. I'm done being your fallback. Mom opens her mouth to speak, but I'm already heading toward the door. Vicky's laugh follows me. What, are you going to make us pay? She taunts. I turn, meeting her eyes. You'll see, I say. You'll see exactly what I can do. That night, I sit at my desk in my office downtown. The city glows below me, bright and alive, but all I can think about is how empty I feel inside. Then I remember something, the La Jolla house. The one I bought 5 years ago when Mom and Dad were drowning in debt. I paid every cent, $200,000, to save it. And I let them live there rent-free, thinking I was helping family. But legally, that house is mine. The deed, the contract, every signature, all mine. And suddenly, I realize I've been holding the power all along. I grab my phone and call Claudia. She answers on the second ring. Teresa, she says. I know what to do, I tell her. The La Jolla house. It's mine. I'm done letting them treat me like a bank. They're going to learn what happens when I stop paying. Claudia doesn't hesitate. Good, she says, her voice strong. You've given enough. Protect what's yours. Her words light a fire in me. I hang up and call my lawyer, Linda Morse. She's sharp, confident, and when she picks up, I tell her everything. Send me the documents, she says. We'll make sure they can't touch that property. Within hours, she's at my office. We go through the papers, line by line. When she looks up, her eyes are steady. This is airtight, she says. You own it outright. They have no legal claim. I exhale slowly, the weight in my chest easing for the first time in days. Then I want to make it official, I say. If they think they can keep taking from me, they're in for a surprise. Linda nods. I'll prepare everything. You're doing the right thing. I smile faintly. For once, I'm doing the right thing for me. The next morning, as I walk into work, I get a text from an unknown number. It's a photo, my sister Vicky standing in front of the La Jolla house with her clients, smiling proudly. The caption reads, "So proud of our family property. Another beautiful project done." My stomach twists. She's using my house, my property, to boost her business. To build her reputation on my sacrifices. I clench my jaw. Enough is enough. That night, I sign the eviction notice Linda prepared. It's not just a document, it's closure. It's a statement. I'm done letting them use me. But just as I set the pen down, my phone buzzes again. It's from Vicky. Can we talk? The message reads. Please, Teresa. I didn't mean to hurt you. I stare at the screen for a long time. The same hands that typed those words once wrote a fake date on my invitation. I set the phone aside, not replying. This isn't guilt. It's fear. She's realizing the walls are closing in. That night, as I stand on my balcony overlooking the city, I realize something. They thought I'd never fight back. They thought I'd stay quiet, just like always. But they were wrong. I've spent my whole life holding everyone else up, it's time to stand on my own. The cool air brushes against my face, the lights below glitter like a promise. Tomorrow, they'll learn what happens when the person they took for granted decides she's done being erased. They won't see it coming. And this time I won't hold back. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the blinds, warm and soft, but inside me, there was nothing soft left. I brewed a pot of coffee, staring out at the skyline of San Diego. My mind was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that comes after you've already cried, already broken, and now you're done. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, and reread the eviction paperwork Linda had drafted. My signature stared back at me like a promise. For years, I'd been their provider, their fixer, the safety net under their mistakes. But now the net was gone. I'd given them every chance to treat me with respect, and they threw it away. I clicked send, forwarding the documents to Linda to proceed. It was official. My parents had 30 days to vacate the La Jolla house, my house. For the first time in years, I felt in control of my life. A few hours later, my phone buzzed. Claudia again. You okay? She asked, her voice steady. I'm better than okay, I said. It's done. I'm taking back everything they took for granted. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, good. But be ready. They're not going to take this lightly. I knew she was right. My family never liked facing consequences. They'd built their comfort on the idea that I'd never say no. But this time, my silence wasn't their shield anymore. That afternoon, as I was wrapping up work, an unknown number flashed on my phone. I answered cautiously. "Teresa?" It was my father. His voice was low, almost trembling. "Your mother told me about the papers," he said. "Please, sweetheart. We've had a hard time. Can't we talk about this?" I felt a bitter laugh rise in my throat. "Talk?" I repeated. "Like the way you all talked about the wedding? Or the way you talked about lying to me?" He sighed heavily. "We made mistakes." "No," I said. "You made choices. Choices that told me I don't belong." He went quiet. I could almost hear the weight of his guilt through the line. But guilt was too late. "You have 30 days, I said finally. "Use them wisely." And then I hung up. That night, I walked along the shore by the La Jolla cliffs. The air smelled of salt and memory. I'd spent so many summers there as a kid, building sandcastles while Mom read on the beach and Dad grilled hot dogs. Now it all felt like a movie I'd outgrown, familiar but distant. My phone vibrated again. A text. This time from Vicky. "You can't be serious, Teresa. You're evicting Mom and Dad? What kind of person does that?" I stared at the message, shaking my head. The irony was almost funny. The person who had lied to me about her wedding was lecturing me about family. I typed back, "The kind of person who's done being used." I didn't wait for her reply. I turned off my phone and let the waves drown out the noise. The next morning, Linda called. "They've been served," she said. "Expect pushback." I thanked her, though part of me was already expecting chaos. By lunchtime, chaos arrived. My work phone lit up with emails and missed calls. Mom had called my office twice, and Vicky left voicemails that alternated between tears and threats. But I didn't answer. I couldn't. I wasn't that Teresa anymore. Instead, I buried myself in my work, focusing on a new tech project that demanded my full attention. My boss had recently hinted at a promotion, and for once, my success was mine alone, not something my family could drain or diminish. That evening, when I finally got home, Claudia was waiting for me with takeout and that knowing look on her face. "You did the right thing," she said, handing me a container of noodles. "They've been leaning on you too long. Sometimes, family needs a wake-up call." I nodded, though my chest still ached. "I know. I just wish it didn't have to come to this." Claudia leaned back on the couch. "You didn't cause this, Teresa." "They did." Her words stayed with me long after she left. A few days later, I got an email from my lawyer. Subject line: unauthorized use of property. My stomach tightened. Inside were photos Linda had received. Vicky was still using the La Jolla house for her interior design shoots. I couldn't believe it. Even after being served, she was posing with clients, taking photos in my living room, pretending it was her project. That was the last straw. I picked up the phone and called Linda. "File whatever we need to," I said firmly. "No more warnings." Linda didn't hesitate. "You got it." By the end of the day, she'd sent a cease and desist letter. Vicky's games were over. That evening, I drove out to the La Jolla property. The driveway lights flickered on as I pulled in. Through the front window, I saw the life they'd built on my back: my mother's vase on the mantel, my father's favorite recliner, Vicky's promotional posters leaning against the wall. I stood there for a long time, staring through the glass, realizing just how much of myself I'd poured into keeping them comfortable. All the money, all the effort, all the sacrifices. And what did I get in return? Lies. Exclusion. Betrayal. I turned away from the window, walking back to my car, my heart heavy but my head clear. I wasn't just reclaiming property. I was reclaiming my dignity. A week later, the story took a turn. Claudia called one morning, her voice serious. "You're not going to like this," she said. "Your family's been talking about you in the neighborhood. Saying you turned cold. That you're punishing them." I sighed, rubbing my temples. "Of course they are. But here's the thing," Claudia continued, "people are starting to question their version. Some neighbors know the truth, about how much you helped them, how much they took." That gave me a strange sense of relief. Maybe people were finally seeing through the act. My parents had spent years pretending to be the picture of a loving family while I quietly funded their perfect image. Now that the money was gone, so was the mask. That same day, I received a message from Scott, my brother-in-law. "Teresa, please hear me out," it read. "I didn't know about the wedding lie. Vicky told me you couldn't make it. I'm sorry." I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to believe him. Another part of me didn't care anymore. The damage was done. You can't undo betrayal with words. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded the message to Claudia. She texted back, "He's trying to clean up Vicky's mess. Don't fall for it." She was right. Over the next 2 weeks, things unraveled for them faster than I expected. Vicky's design business started losing clients. Word spread that she'd lied about her projects, passing off others' work as her own. One of her major clients canceled a $50,000 contract. I found out because Claudia called me one afternoon, barely hiding her surprise. "Teresa," she said, "karma's fast this time. They're scrambling. Scott's been calling people, trying to get work. Vicky's panicking." I didn't know how to feel, satisfaction or sadness. Maybe both. "I never wanted revenge," I said quietly. "I just wanted respect." "Sometimes," Claudia replied, "losing you is the lesson they needed." Meanwhile, Mom started emailing me. Short, guilt-soaked messages. "We miss you. Can we talk? Don't let anger ruin family." I deleted every single one without reading past the first line. She hadn't missed me when they laughed at my absence during the wedding. They hadn't cared when they rented out my house behind my back. So no, I wasn't going to let guilt work this time. I'd finally built peace, and I wasn't giving it up. By the 3rd week, the whispers in the community reached my workplace. A coworker mentioned hearing that my family was going through a tough time. I just smiled politely. I didn't explain. I didn't need to. For years, I'd lived for their approval. Now, I lived for my peace. That weekend, I drove to the La Jolla property one last time with Linda to finalize the turnover. My parents had moved out. The house was quiet, empty. When I stepped inside, the air smelled like dust and closure. Linda handed me the keys. "It's yours again," she said softly. I nodded, walking through each room slowly. The living room where we'd spent holidays. The kitchen where Mom once taught me to bake. The hallway lined with old family photos. Each step hurt a little, but it also healed. By the time I reached the balcony overlooking the ocean, I knew I was free. But freedom doesn't come without a price. A few days later, as I settled back into my new routine, my phone buzzed again, this time with a voicemail from Dad. His voice was shaky, older somehow. Teresa, I don't blame you for any of this. Maybe we deserved it. Just take care of yourself. It caught me off guard. I replayed it twice. Maybe he finally understood. Or maybe it was just another attempt to pull me back. Either way, it didn't change the past. Claudia visited that evening, bringing a bottle of wine. To new beginnings, she said, raising her glass. I smiled. To peace, I replied. We toasted, laughing softly as the sun set beyond the ocean. For the first time in months, I felt light. My home was mine again, my finances protected, my boundaries set. But deep down, I knew this story wasn't over. People like my family don't let go that easily. And I could feel something building, the kind of silence that comes before the next storm. The next morning, I found out I was right. Paul Adams, the head of security at my office, called me. Teresa, he said, there's a situation. Your family's downstairs. They're demanding to see you. My stomach dropped. All of them? I asked. Your mom, dad, and sister, he said. They're causing a bit of a scene. I took a slow breath. This was it. The confrontation I knew would come. The one where they'd beg, manipulate, or pretend to apologize, anything to get back what they lost. But I wasn't the same Teresa anymore. I was ready. I told Paul, give me 5 minutes. Then I stood up, straightened my blazer, and looked in the mirror. The woman staring back at me wasn't the desperate, heartbroken daughter from a few weeks ago. She was calm, steady, sure of herself. I grabbed my phone, walked to the elevator, and pressed the button to the lobby. My heart was pounding, but my mind was clear. Whatever they came for, they weren't getting it. Not this time. When the elevator doors opened, I saw them, Mom's eyes red, Dad's shoulders slumped, Vicky's face pale but defiant. They looked smaller than I remembered. Worn out. Scared. Claudia was there too, standing off to the side, watching quietly. Mom stepped forward, her voice breaking. Teresa, please. We're sorry. We didn't mean to hurt you. I crossed my arms, studying them, the people who once had all the power in my life now standing in front of me stripped of it. What do you want? I asked, my voice calm but cold. We just want to talk, Dad said. We can fix this. I shook my head slowly. You can't fix what you destroyed. Vicky spoke next, her tone sharper. You've made your point, Teresa. Enough is enough. I met her gaze. No, Vicky, I said quietly. Enough was years ago. You just never noticed. The air felt heavy, thick with everything unsaid. My family stood there, broken, desperate, waiting for me to bend. But I wouldn't. Not again. I took a step closer, my voice soft but steady. You all thought I'd stay silent forever. You thought I'd always be there to fix your mistakes. But I'm done being your safety net. Vicky's jaw tightened. So this is it? She asked bitterly. You're just cutting us off? I looked at her, really looked at her, the same sister who'd smiled at her wedding while lying to me, the same woman who'd built her life on my help. Yes, I said simply. I am. For a moment, no one moved. Then Mom started crying. Dad put an arm around her, trying to hold her up. But I'd made my choice. I turned to Paul, who'd been waiting by the front desk. Please escort them out, I said quietly. He nodded. As my family turned toward the door, Mom looked back one last time. Teresa, don't shut us out, she said, her voice trembling. I didn't answer. I just watched them go. When the doors closed behind them, I exhaled slowly, my hands shaking slightly. Claudia stepped beside me. You did the right thing, she said. They needed to see you mean it. I nodded, though my chest ached. I know, I whispered. It just hurts more than I thought it would. Claudia's eyes softened. Healing always does. We walked back to my office together, the echoes of my family's voices fading behind us. I thought it was over. But later that night, as I sat alone in my condo, staring at the quiet city lights, my phone buzzed again. A new message. From an unknown number. For words that made my stomach drop, you'll regret this, Teresa. The message glowed on my screen in the dim light of my condo. My stomach turned cold. I stared at it, rereading the words, trying to guess who sent it. There was no name, no number saved. Just those four sharp words that hung in the air like a threat. My first instinct was fear. My second was anger. I took a slow breath and set my phone down on the counter, forcing myself to stay calm. They wanted me to break, to run, to feel guilty again. Not this time. I made tea, trying to quiet the storm inside me. The kettle whistled, the city hummed outside, and I told myself that I wasn't going backward. I had fought too hard to get here. Still, as I sat on my couch, staring at the steam curling from my mug, my thoughts wouldn't settle. Who sent it? My mother? My father? Vicky? I didn't know, but the tone, it sounded like her. My sister. The same sister who once looked me in the eye and said, "You always steal the spotlight." The same one who lied and laughed behind my back. Maybe she thought this would scare me. But all it did was make my resolve stronger. The next morning, I called Claudia. She picked up immediately, her voice alert. Teresa? What's wrong? I told her about the message. She went quiet for a moment, then said, "That's not okay. You should tell Linda." I already planned to, I said. But I needed to hear a sane voice first. Claudia sighed. They're desperate. Don't let them drag you down again. I smiled faintly. Don't worry. I'm not the same person I was months ago. But the truth was, a small part of me still hurt. No matter how strong you become, betrayal leaves scars. By noon, I was in Linda's office. She sat across from me, sharp as ever, flipping through a stack of papers. When I showed her the message, she frowned. Classic intimidation, she said. They're trying to provoke you. Ignore it for now. But if it continues, we'll take action. Her calm steadiness grounded me. We talked for a while about legal next steps, about how to protect my property and privacy. As I was leaving, Linda said something that stuck with me. Sometimes people like that don't hate losing your money. They hate losing control. And she was right. My family hadn't just lost access to my bank account or house. They'd lost the power to guilt me, to pull my strings. Later that week, the situation escalated. A post appeared online, an article in a small local blog about a daughter abandoning her aging parents. The details were vague, but the story was clearly about me. My stomach dropped as I read the words, each one dripping with judgment. Successful woman cuts ties with struggling family. Sources say she evicted her elderly parents from their home. No names, but it was obvious who wrote it. And I knew exactly who her sources were. My mother's voice echoed in my head, the way she always used guilt as a weapon. I closed the browser and took a deep breath. They were trying to turn the world against me. But I refused to play the victim. That night, Claudia came over. She'd seen the post too. "They're really doing this," she said, pacing my living room. "It's pathetic." I nodded. "They want sympathy. They want me to crawl back." Claudia crossed her arms. "Let them talk. You've built your life on truth. People who matter know your story." Her words soothed the ache a little. I poured her a glass of wine, and we sat by the window, watching the city lights shimmer. "Funny," I said quietly, "how silence used to make me afraid. Now it feels like peace." Days passed, and I focused on work. My team at the company was thriving. My boss, Ethan, called me into his office one afternoon with a smile. "Teresa, you've done incredible work. I'm promoting you to project director." I was speechless for a second. "Thank you," I said finally. He chuckled. "You earned it. Your focus, your leadership, it's been inspiring." For the first time in months, I felt pure joy. The kind that wasn't tied to anyone's approval. When I left his office, my phone buzzed again. Another message. This time it said, "You think success makes you safe?" I stopped in the hallway, my heart thudding. The same unknown number. My stomach tightened, but I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded it to Linda. Within minutes, she responded, documented. "Don't engage." That evening, I got home to find a note slipped under my door. No name. Just handwriting I recognized too well, Mom's. "We're sorry. We just want to see you. Please talk to us." I crumpled it up and threw it away. Guilt was their favorite tool. I was done falling for it. But even as I walked away, I couldn't stop the memories. Mom teaching me how to braid my hair. Dad cheering at my high school graduation. Vicky and I laughing in the backyard when we were kids. It's strange how betrayal doesn't erase love, it just buries it under the weight of disappointment. I went to bed early that night, but sleep didn't come easy. A week later, Claudia called early in the morning. Her voice was tense. "Teresa, you need to sit down." "What happened?" I asked, dread creeping in. "Vicky's company," she said. "It's collapsed. She lost her last client. They're broke. Your parents, they're moving in with her." I sat in silence for a moment. My chest felt heavy, but not with pity, just finality. The choices they made had caught up to them. "They'll blame me," I said quietly. "Probably," Claudia replied. "But don't let that become your burden." That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, I drove to the beach. The waves rolled in softly, each one whispering something I needed to hear. "You did what you had to do." I stood there for a long time, the salty air in my lungs, the ache in my heart slowly easing. They had taken everything they could. My peace, my trust, my time. But they couldn't take my strength. Over the next few weeks, the silence grew. No more messages. No more letters. Just quiet. I filled my days with work, yoga, coffee runs, dinners with friends. I was learning how to exist without waiting for the next blow. One afternoon, Claudia called with news. "Guess what?" she said. "That blog post? It's gone. Someone took it down." I smiled faintly. "Guess they realized lies don't last forever." She laughed. "Exactly." For the first time, I felt like the universe was balancing itself. Months passed. Spring turned to summer. My career soared, my circle grew, and life slowly returned to color. But the past has a way of finding you when you least expect it. One Saturday morning, my doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened the door, I froze. It was my father. Alone. He looked older, thinner. His eyes tired. "Dad," I said, shocked. He nodded weakly. "Teresa, can we talk?" I hesitated, then stepped aside. He walked in slowly, taking in the space like he didn't belong there. We sat at the table. For a while, neither of us spoke. Then he said softly, "Your mother's not well. Stress. Regret. I thought you should know." I listened quietly. "I'm sorry to hear that," I said, my tone steady. He sighed. "We made mistakes. I made mistakes. I should have stopped all this." His voice cracked. "You were right to walk away." Hearing that felt strange, like the apology came too late, but still mattered somehow. "I just wanted honesty," I said. "Not perfection. Just honesty." He nodded. "Your mother, she's ashamed. But she'll never admit it. She wanted to keep up appearances. She thought lying would protect us." "It destroyed us," I said. He didn't argue. He just looked at me, eyes filled with something I hadn't seen in years, real sorrow. Before he left, he said, "Take care of yourself, Teresa. You've built something good. Don't let us take that from you again." After he left, I sat for a long time staring at the door. Part of me felt relief. Part of me felt the ache of what could have been. But I also felt peace. The kind of peace that comes when you stop chasing apologies and start accepting closure. That night, I called Claudia and told her everything. "Maybe this is the beginning of healing," she said. "Maybe," I replied. "But this time it'll be on my terms." The months rolled on, quiet and steady. My family faded from the noise of my days, their drama replaced by calm routines and laughter that didn't hurt. Sometimes, late at night, I'd stand on the balcony of my La Jolla house, watching the ocean. The same ocean that once carried my tears now carried my strength. One evening, as the waves shimmered under the moonlight, I whispered to myself, "You made it." A year later, an envelope arrived in the mail. The handwriting was familiar, Mom's again. My first instinct was to throw it away, but something made me open it. Inside was a short letter. "Teresa, we were wrong. Completely wrong. I don't expect forgiveness. But I want you to know, we see it now. What you gave us, what we lost. I hope you're happy. You deserve it." I sat there for a long time, staring at the words. Tears filled my eyes, not from sadness, but from release. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. The letter wasn't a door reopening, it was a door finally closing. Weeks later, I hosted a small dinner at my beach house. Just friends, laughter, music, and peace. Claudia raised her glass halfway through the evening. "To Teresa," she said with a grin. "To strength, to boundaries, and to knowing your worth." Everyone clapped, and I laughed, a real laugh that came from somewhere deep. When the night ended, and the house grew quiet again, I stood by the window looking out at the waves. I thought about everything, about how love without respect isn't love at all. About how sometimes, walking away isn't selfish. It's survival. I took out my phone and opened the camera, recording a short message for my viewers, the same way I always end my stories. My voice was calm, full of emotion but steady. If you've ever been betrayed by the people you love most, know this, you're not alone. You can forgive without forgetting. You can love without returning. And you can rebuild your life stronger than before. I paused, letting the silence breathe. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for choosing peace. Sometimes, protecting your heart means closing doors that hurt to shut. But in doing so, you make room for something better, yourself. I smiled softly at the camera, the ocean shimmering behind me. Thank you for hearing my story, I said. If it touched you, let me know where you're watching from. Your stories matter too. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can keep sharing strength, healing, and hope together. As the camera light blinked off, I felt a quiet warmth in my chest. This wasn't the ending I imagined, but maybe it was the one I needed. The woman I was when this began, the one who stood in her parents' kitchen clutching a wedding invitation and fighting back tears, she would have given anything for their love. But the woman standing here now knows that love built on lies isn't love worth keeping. Outside, the waves kept rolling, endless and calm. I closed my eyes, breathed in the salt air, and let it all go. If this story touched your heart, drop a comment below sharing where you're watching from. Every story shared here reminds someone that healing is possible. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more true stories of strength and self-worth, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a new one. Thank you for watching. I'm Teresa Wheeler, and this is my piece.